Awesome. Well, hello. Hi, everybody. Thank you for watching this YouTube channel. I am getting comfortable in you doing these videos. So as a Christian numerologist, a spiritual entrepreneur, I thought it would be really fun and cool to highlight some really amazing people that have different perspectives, different gifts and talents, and ways of empowering other people in the community and sharing with us ways that we can be better and grow and develop. And so I'm super excited to introduce Jennifer today. She is a business therapist, and I cannot wait to dive into that. I got a chance to be in a mastermind with you recently, and I was really blown away with your feedback, with your suggestions, your questions, and you definitely have a gift and a skill there. So I cannot wait to dive in and hear more about what you do and how you serve the public. I know you work with female coaches and service providers, so we'll dive into that too. But to start, Jennifer, if you want to tell us just a little bit more about you and what you do, what got you started, and all that good stuff, I'd love to hear it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for having me, Devette. So I used to be a therapist. I'm actually going to be recertified as I have to get my credentials back. I let them lapse because I was a stay-at-home mom for many years, and I was keeping up my LCSW, and I kind of just decided I'm just going to stop, renewing my license and let it lapse. So I'm in the process now of getting my license activated again. It's just some, hoops to jump through or whatever. But since then, I discovered life coaching. And so I got certified as a life coach. And I really love the idea of life coaching because I've always wanted to help people. And that's why I was a psychotherapist for many years. And what I really loved about life coaching was that it was very much forward directed, that instead of a lot of therapy, especially the kind of therapy I was doing when I was doing psychotherapy in private practice, was very much going into the past and talking about what you've been through, you know before today, basically, and like
Right.
getting insight into that. And that, although that work is extremely valuable and I really loved it, I just really loved the fact that life coaching is taking you from where you are today to where you really want to go in life. And so that was super exciting to me, and I just loved the forward focus of it. So about almost 5 years ago, I got certified as a life coach, and I've been helping. So I switched my niche a few times along the way, but I have kind of landed in helping women in their businesses, especially coaches and service providers, because I've been in a business now for almost 5 years, and I've realized how difficult business can be, and how if we focus more on the mindset in business and not worry so much about the strategy, but really getting ourselves in the right mindset, getting our thoughts really positive and really powerful, how we can actually get the results that we want in our businesses without even really having to worry too much about a strategy, because any strategy can work. And, really, it doesn't matter what your strategy is. If your mindset is not in the right place, your strategy is not going
Right.
to be successful. It's going to fall flat. So
Right.
that's where my focus is. My focus is really getting coaches and service providers out of their head, really, and into action so that they can actually solve the problems in their business. So that's
I
kind of,
love that. Okay.
yeah, that's kind of where I'm at now. So,
Yeah, that's powerful. Getting out of your head. I think that's what like really trips everybody up is you
yeah.
overanalyze, right? You get, I know I'm guilty of getting analysis paralysis. I mean,
Yeah.
I will overanalyze something, and then before you know it, it's like, 2023. Right? It's like the
Exactly.
years
Yeah.
just gone by, you're stuck analyzing. I love how you mentioned that changing your niche. I
Yeah.
feel like I've changed my niche several times, and it's almost like I used to feel that like it like it almost it was a bad thing, when really it's kind of like an evolving thing.
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Like
I
it's
agree.
healthy, like it's normal to,
Yeah.
um, I mean, maybe sometimes you've mastered something and it's just not fun anymore. And so you change to something else, or new ideas come and you're like, well, I can really serve better here, or just this new opportunity of a whole bunch of, a group of this, these people that I can like serve.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you find that a lot, like with the people that you coach, are afraid of evolving, in that way, maybe changing their niche, and so they kind of like overanalyze and they're stuck where they
Yeah.
should be growing?
Yeah, it's very, very common. I think one of the hardest things that we have to figure out as entrepreneurs is like, what is our niche and where are we going to kind of choose to be the expert in, right? What is that thing that we're going to be the expert in? And it's really hard because people, so especially coaches really feel afraid of niching because they're afraid they're being exclusive. They not
Right.
inclusive, I guess is what I'm trying to say. They want to be able to coach anybody. They don't want to
Yeah.
say, oh, you don't have this particular issue, so I can't coach you. And so when we're trained as life coaches, we're usually trained to be able to coach anyone on anything, which is a great, great thing to have. But in the world of marketing, in the world of, not just being a coach, but also being a CEO in your business, it's really important to get narrow in your niche and really get more specific and deep in your niche is the most important thing. People get afraid to do that, but that's how you're going to become known as an expert in your field, and that's how you're going to stand out from everyone else. And I hate to say narrowing your niche, because you don't want to necessarily, it doesn't necessarily matter if it's narrow. What really matters is if it's deep, if it's really um, deep on a level of, instead of focusing on demographics, focusing on psychographics, focusing on the real problems that people have and the solutions that they're really looking for. So whenever you're finding your niche, figuring out what your niche is, you want to know what you're good at, and you want to know kind of what lights your fire, what makes you really excited, and the transformation that you can provide to your client. Because really, it's ultimately all your client wants to know is what's in it for them, right? How
Right.
can you help them get from where they are now to where they really want to be? So I think it's extremely important to find that perfect niche for you, so that you can really help your clients in the most powerful way. And it's one of the things we really get stuck on, we get in our heads about, and we overthink it. So it's something that I help my clients get clarity around, because when we find that perfect niche for us, it really energizes us and it gets us that motivation to go out and help those people.
Yeah, I love that. Narrowing down, I mean, without narrowing down, you can't really, you can't find the target, right? Like they say, like if you're going to aim a basketball, you got to know where the target is, where the hoop is. Otherwise, you're just kind of throwing it up in the air. Doesn't mean that things can't change or you can't evolve into a greater, newer aspect. And
Mm.
that's so powerful, that to have somebody, because if you're just so broad and you're all over the place, then I know for me, if someone's like, I cover everything, I feel that how can you really be an expert at this one thing that I need?
Right.
Right. So that's, yeah, really important.
And I think if they cover everything, then you're like, well, I don't know how to, like, I don't know how you can help me, and I don't know how I can refer you to other people, because if you cover
Yeah.
everything, that's just so broad. And so it doesn't help our brains narrow in on one or two things that you can help with. It's just
Right.
it kind of like being too broad kind of leads to confusion, I think. But yeah, and I wanted to add one other point about kind of pivoting our niche. I think it's really important to be able to do that, because not only do we change and evolve, but our clients change and evolve as
Right.
well. One of the biggest reasons I switched into helping coaches and service providers online is because of the pandemic, and so many women were really starting to work from home instead and wanting to go into coaching and find a job where they could actually work from home and be with their children at the same time. And so I saw this change in the need of the market. I also think when we develop, we find that we have, skills and talents we didn't even know were there. And so we want to we want to take advantage of that
Yeah.
and give those skills and those talents to our clients. So we might switch a little bit in that way too.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, you got to adapt, right? I mean,
Yeah.
life is always changing, situations, circumstances, everything is always changing. And if you can't adapt to that, you're going to kind of fall behind.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
it's important. And I mean, the expertise that you have is still going to show up really in what you do. I mean, I like to say, how you do one thing, you do everything. So
Yeah.
even if you are narrowed in to something specific, you're still helping people in all other areas, right,
Right.
of their life.
Yeah.
Do you, how do you find imposter syndrome showing up for your clients and working through that?
Oh, yes. Imposter syndrome is running rampant, I think.
Yeah.
Especially with, I find especially with women, we just, we have a lot of self-doubt. And I think with social media, we really, I think one of the things that feeds into that imposter syndrome is comparing ourselves to everyone else that's out there. And we see people who are doing really well and they're really successful because we're seeing all the good stuff. We're not seeing the behind the scenes. We're not seeing the other side of the coin, right? And so what happens is we start to feel like, oh, well, who am I to be doing this? I'm not as good as they are. And it's really, really common. And so a lot of times that's where women get stuck. They think, well, I'm not good enough. Who am I to be doing this? They feel like an imposter. And so instead of getting into action and putting themselves out there and really trying to highlight those things that, their clients could really benefit from, they get into doubt and procrastination and perfectionism, and it's like all of those mental blocks get in the way and they end up doing nothing. And so I really encourage my clients, like, you know it doesn't have to be perfect, and it's really much better to look at shifting that thought. Okay, well, you feel like an imposter, you feel like you're not good enough. What are you good enough at? And let's focus on that. Let's focus on the people you have helped, right? Even if you've never had a client before, I know that anyone who's a coach or a service provider has at some point helped somebody. They've done something in that field to help somebody else. And so let's shift our focus to that. Let's shift our focus to not how I'm not good enough, but let's shift our focus to, hey, I actually did really help this one person or several people. And that is a skill that I have. And how can I keep focusing intentionally on that? Because that brings up feelings of confidence, and I feel really good about myself. And when I show up with that confidence and that sort of it brings about this feeling of trust in the people that you're talking to, because you're really, you're again an expert in your field, and you're coming from that place rather than, who am I? I'm not as good as they are, and who am I to be doing this? If you stay in those thoughts, you're never going to get the clients that you want, to give yourself more proof that you can do this and you are not an
Right.
imposter, right? So focus on the good experiences that you've already had and really stay intentional about that.
Yeah, I love that. And that's part of the mindset that
Yeah.
talk about. I heard you saying in the interview that you did with Becky that 85% is mindset.
Mhm.
And it's that mindset that, I mean, is going to either catapult you to success,
Mhm.
or it's going to keep you, drowning and under. And I'm so fascinated by the mindset, and this imposter syndrome is really kind of been fascinating me a lot lately, because it's all in our head. And I mean, really, I like seeing when people are not perfect, when they mess up or they make a mistake or they're, the camera falls or something.
Yeah.
And then it's like,
Yeah.
oh, I can relate to this person,
Yeah.
more. I mean, trying to have it all perfect is so unrealistic, and people fall into that trap so much, and it's so hard, and it keeps you from really focusing on the people that need your help. I mean, there's people that are suffering and you're kind of worried about
Yeah.
having things perfect. Am I good enough? Am I worthy? I mean, when really sometimes someone just needs to know that you care,
Yeah,
right? So
yeah, I know. And I like to say sometimes, and it almost sounds a little harsh, but I like to say, this isn't actually about you. So get out of your head,
right.
stop thinking you need to be perfect,
Yeah.
stop comparing yourself to everyone else, and put yourself out there. Think about your client. Think about that person who's out there waiting for you while you're in procrastination, while you're in perfectionism. That person's waiting for you. Get out of your head and into action so that they can find you, so you can find them and you can help them.
Right. Yeah. And if you think about it, I think suicide is up 300% right now,
Yeah, I've heard that.
and people are just so stuck in their mind. And then you have coaches that can actually go out there and make a difference. And they're stuck in,
Yeah,
really in their mind of like, am I good enough, or can I really provide
right.
this service? So I absolutely love what you do and how you incorporate the therapist side to it as well. And kind of just listening to the things that you say, before I had, we talked about numerology and you as a sixth life path, which is fascinating because sixes are the nurturers. They're kind of like the world's parent. They like to take care of everybody. And I could see the passion in your eyes and in your soul is just kind of coming through of how genuinely you care to get people from point A to point Z, or
Yeah, yeah.
X, or wherever it is that they want to go. Do you find that people, is there kind of like a common challenge that people are stuck with, or is it I mean, is it just something that from childhood, or is it just imposter syndrome, or is there some kind of common thread of the mindset that you find that people are really stuck with?
It really runs the gamut. I mean, everyone, I think, has their own favorite limiting belief or mindset block. And it just, yeah, I mean, it's partially what you experienced growing up. It's definitely, you know, we're, we're all like a culmination of everything that we've gone through in our lives. It's how we grew up. It's what we've seen in the media. It's what we've experienced in our families, in our friendships, in our relationships across the board. So, and it's our relationship with ourselves as well, right? It's kind of how we perceive ourselves. And so that kind of dictates, all of these prior experiences kind of dictate what kind of sort of mindset blocks that you're going to run into along the way. Like a lot of firstborns I've noticed who, are have a I think have more of that like type A personality. Usually they're kind of the nurturer in the family, or because they're the oldest. A lot of times those are the perfectionists, right? Those are the ones who want to get everything exactly perfect before they put it out there. I This isn't something I've like researched or anything, but it kind of makes
What you
sense
observe?
based on
Yeah.
what I know. But I mean, it's also kind of what you've been through, because I think, entrepreneurship can be really, really challenging at times. And so if you've had a lot of experiences that haven't worked out for whatever reason, if you've been trying to get clients and it hasn't been going the way you want it to go, those experiences can lead you to start to really doubt yourself and think, wow, I've been trying this thing for so long and it's not working. And a lot of times that becomes internalized. Well, what's wrong with me? There must be something with me that's going wrong, when really it might have nothing to do with you. It might be, several other components of your business. But so
Right.
that's kind of where I think all of the different kinds of mind blocks come in. I call them mindset blocks or mental blocks, but it's all of them. It's perfectionism, it's imposter syndrome, it's comparisonitis, I call it.
Yeah.
All of these different things, procrastination, or what was the one you mentioned? Use analysis paralysis, right?
Yeah.
Like they all kind of sound like diseases, right?
Right.
They sound like
Yeah.
these horrible things, but truly, it's just your thoughts. And what's beautiful about the fact that it's a thought is that that is something we have control of. So, we can't always control our outside circumstances. We can't control other people. We can't control, the state of the economy or anything like that. But what we can control is our reaction to it, the thoughts that we have. So, we might have an automatic thought that comes in that doesn't serve us and is not something that's going to get us the results that we want to have. But if we can identify that thought as being a problem, we can absolutely shift that thought. We can question it, we can shift it. And this gives us so much power, which is such a wonderful thing, because as soon as we can shift our thought into something that feels better, we take actions based on those new feelings that we're having that came from the thought. And the actions that we take that are coming from a place of feeling excited, feeling motivated, feeling intentional, feeling joyful, feeling whatever the positive feeling is, those actions are going to lead to much more powerful results. And that's where success comes from.
Yeah, I love that. I like to kind of refer to that as like a muscle, right? It's like you
Yeah.
have to develop that muscle because you get so stuck in a certain way of thinking and being and doing,
Yep.
and it you need a coach. You literally need someone to help you through that process too. It's kind of like a personal trainer, right? Like
Yeah.
getting you used to those working out before you know it, it's natural and you're transformed. And um which is so valuable to be able to have someone like you kind of guide you through that transformation. What curious about what your style of coaching is. I mean, do you, because knowing that different personalities out there, some people need a really hard straightforward approach, like you said, so it's not about you. Sometimes people need to hear that. Other people need a much different or softer approach. And how do you work through that with your clients?
I always start with where my client is. And because of my background in therapy and psychology, like I'm pretty good at reading people and I'm pretty good at, I also have a really fun approach, right? Like I might call you out on your stuff, but I'm going to be nice about it. I'm not going to, I am more, like you pointed out, a six. I'm more of a nurturer. I'm more of somebody who really wants to take care of people, but I can also, kind of be a little bit more direct if needed. And so I really just start where my client is and I, check in with them a lot. And I don't just, vomit a bunch of information or strategy on them. I ask them
Okay.
questions to get really to the bottom of what it is that is in their way, what's holding them back, what's getting in their way from having the success that they want. So it's really a very individualized, very, whatever the opposite, like not cookie cutter approach, right?
Yeah.
Like I really don't believe in
Tailor made.
or
Yeah.
approaches, right? Like it's very customized, very individualized. And that's how I work in both my one-on-one and my group program, because I have personally experienced so many cookie cutter programs that just give you a method, give you a strategy. And really it's just a shame because, those programs assume that everyone's the same and we're not. We're all very, very different. And so I'm always going to start where my client is to help them exactly figure out what is going to work best for them, what approach is aligned with who they are and their values and how they like to work. And so we do a lot of, brainstorming and, I ask them a lot of powerful questions so that we can get to the bottom of what's going to be the best approach for them specifically.
I love that. I'm so happy to hear you say that too. And I get that from you, that you're straight up, straight, you're forward, what you're talking about. You're not afraid to push somebody kind of, if they're wanting to swim, you're kind of like, okay, here's the water, I'm right here. I think it's so important to have different aspects and different ways of coaching, because like you said, we are all different. And there are times that you kind of need to hear something in a softer approach. And sometimes you need to be like, kind of cutthroat, like enough of the BS, get up and get out there and do it.
Yeah.
And I think that's really powerful, because a lot of coaches, like you said, they are cookie cutter. This is, ABC, would you like fries with that? And that's just kind of how, right, they approach
Yeah.
it, rather than, I mean, kind of like the Burger King, we do it your way, whatever fits your style. So yeah, that's really powerful. What is your ideal client, who are kind of that would get that, you get them from point A to point wherever it is that they want to go, that are you can identify they are committed to results, and they are committed to getting the work done. Someone that's interested in working with you, what do they need to know, and what would, I guess, typically be your ideal client that you work with?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I would say I primarily work with women, but I would say it's somebody who's maybe tried a lot of the strategies, maybe taken some courses. They have had, some clients in their business. They're not fresh out of the gate, but they're definitely not where they want to be. They really want to make more money, have more freedom in their business, have more clients, but do it, like you said, on their terms, not based on some cookie cutter approach. They really want things to feel really good. They don't want to be hustling. They don't want to be struggling. And they might have those mindset blocks. They might be, really noticing that they're spinning in their heads, that they're overthinking everything. They have a hard time, deciding, and they might be noticing a lot of negative thoughts getting in their way. But if they're not super aware of what their thoughts are, usually it's those people, like I said, who have tried a bunch of different strategies and nothing's really working. It's like they might have a little bit of success, but it's not consistent. And they really just can't quite figure out what's in the way, right? It just feels like there's just this missing piece to the puzzle. If they could figure it out, that would move the needle for them in the way that they want it to be moved. And I find that missing piece is always the mindset. It's always really switching your thoughts to a different thought, because if we're doing the same thing over and over and over again, and nothing's changing,
Right.
we need to look at it differently. We need to shift our perspective. So that's the kind of work that I want to do with them. And so they have to be also open to looking at their results and like considering some different approaches, because a lot of people don't want to look at their thoughts. They don't want to look at their mindset. They want to, just have a new strategy and tell me what to do. Well, you can keep doing and doing and doing forever. But if you're doing things based on, a lack mindset or a negative, you're coming at it with negative thoughts and feelings, then it's not going to have the results that you want. But if you're willing to look at your thoughts, which cause your feelings and your actions, then we can really change your results. So
Awesome.
that's kind of it in a nutshell, I think.
Gotcha. Yeah. So technically they sense that there is a blind spot and they just can't see it. And it's something that you can identify
Yeah.
and point out and help them work through that, so they can get the
Yeah.
results that they want. So I love
Absolutely.
that. Okay. So then you also you have one-on-one coaching and group coaching. Is that what you offer?
Yeah, I have one-on-one coaching, which is obviously just me and the client. And that's perfect for those people who don't necessarily want to, maybe they're a little bit more private. They don't want to open up in front of a group about all their issues and their problems that they're having, or their thoughts that they're having. However, the group is also a really great way for people who really do thrive in that more of a community environment. But they're both going to get you to the same place. We talk about the same types of things. My groups are not huge 50, 70 member groups. These are very, very small, intimate groups where they're getting one-on-one coaching in the group setting. So they're getting the benefits of one-on-one as well as, having that group sort of with them, because there's so much to be learned from watching other people coached as well.
Right.
So.
Right. Awesome. Okay. So anybody that wants to get a hold of you or learn more about you, how would they find you? Do you
Yeah,
have a
well, I'm on
website, social media?
Instagram.
Okay.
So yeah, I love Instagram. I'm always checking my Instagram.
Okay.
So I'm at J Jakobsen Life Coach, and it's Jakobsen with a K. So Jakobsen Life Coach. And then I have a Facebook group. I don't know if you have a way to put some notes in on
Yeah.
Facebook.
When I upload this, I'll include the
Oh,
links.
okay, perfect.
Yeah, as well. And you have a website, I'm sure,
Yes.
or okay, cool.
Yeah, my website is just jenniferjacobsenlifecoaching.com.
Awesome. Okay, we'll
Yeah.
add that all on here. And I think that it's so exciting to and refreshing to really even just be talking with you right now and spotlighting you for anybody out there. And I just have such I feel very passionate right now about the transitions that everybody is going through right now with I mean just the world is just completely changing and people don't know what to do, and there's these like hidden gifts and talents and things that need to kind of come to the surface so that they can serve their community. And it could be just as small as their community or their state or their country or the world, but they need to kind of break through. They need to find those blind spots and just push past it, be imperfect, and let the world see you.
Yeah.
So it's so important what you're doing, and I'm so
You.
grateful that you're putting yourself out there and that you've joined me today and allowed me to spotlight you here. I think it's exciting. It's just really exciting to see that you're stepping out there and you're bringing people in and you're committed to it. And even just being, a Six Life Path, what I completely get is that you are committed to, your clients and the results that they're having, and you're not going to buy any BS. You're going to get them there. That's why they pay you for it, right? I mean,
Right.
money is always replenishable, but time isn't. So it's like, life is now. So for anybody out there watching, if you're feeling stuck, you've hit a blind spot, or you just know that there's this gift within you that you can give, and there's something mentally blocking you or holding you back, or you're making up some ridiculous story that you're not good enough, or
Yeah.
it's life just it doesn't work out for you, or whatever it is, it's BS. You need to push through that. You need Jennifer to either nurture you through it or kick your butt through it, whatever that looks like. You're gonna get. The world needs you out there. Please contact Jennifer. I'll put her links under this video. You can contact me if for some reason, I don't know, do you want to get a hold of her through me? I'll push you her way. But please reach out and get up and out there. Do it for your family, do it for yourself, do it for the world. The world needs you. So Jennifer, thank you so much. And I don't know if you have any last words or golden nugget that you want to leave anybody with.
I think you said it beautifully. I think, yeah, the world needs us all. And so if we can get out of our heads and into action, I think that is absolutely the key. And it's just been such a pleasure to chat with you today. So thank you so much for having me on.
Thank you. And to everybody else, we'll see you on the next video. So again, thank you, Jennifer, very much. And we'll see everybody on the next video. Have a good day.
Bye.